Welcome back to my Begin to Budget series. This is video number 4, and like I've said in all the videos before this, if you have yet to watch videos 1, 2, or 3, press pause right now. Check out the description box below and you can find the links to all of the first 3 videos. Go ahead and watch those first. That way we'll all be on the same page and you'll understand what's going on when you come back to watch this video today. Hi there, my name's Kristin. I am a blogger at senseandpurpose.com and I have started creating this series to teach you how to budget. So this is start to finish creating your budget, sticking to your budget, and learning how to love life on a budget. So today is video 4. Thanks so much for coming back and joining me again. And we are going to talk all about emergency funds today. Now I do have an older video I created about emergency funds. I'm going to link that one up here in the cards for you as well. If you'd like to come back and check that one out after you finish this video, that'll give you a little bit extra information. I will also link a blog post that I have about emergency funds in the description box below, and you can check that out as well. Together, all of these resources should help you create your own emergency fund. Now, I want to start off by talking about why do you need an emergency fund. So let's start today by explaining exactly what an emergency fund is, because if you're completely new to budgeting, then you might not even really understand what this term is. So essentially, an emergency fund is money that you have set aside for the specific purpose of covering any kind of emergency that might come up in your life. Now, it will be up to you to determine what you consider an emergency and would be able to use your emergency fund to help pay for. Now, an emergency is probably not going to the salon and getting your hair done or buying a new part for the old car your husband has been restoring. An emergency might look something like your child got hurt and you had some outstanding medical bills that your insurance didn't cover. Or maybe your emergency looks like your car broke down and it's your only form of transportation and you don't have any other way to fix it. So the point of an emergency fund is to be able to cover these expenses and therefore preventing you from having to charge them on a credit card and go into debt or go into more debt. When my husband and I were paying off all of our debt a couple years ago, we kept an emergency fund of only $1,000. Now, we were a family of 4 and we felt as though $1,000 was adequate for us and most emergencies that we would have. I'd also like to note that we are very fortunate and have amazing insurance. So in the event of a medical emergency, which can often be the most expensive kind of emergencies, we were completely covered and really would only ever have to come out of pocket with about $100. That allowed us to keep our emergency fund a lot lower. But I will tell you, if we did not have that insurance, or if we were to be starting our debt-free journey now, I believe I would probably up that emergency fund to somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. But again, this is up to you to determine. You need to sit down with your spouse, your partner, accountability partner, and really put some numbers out there and talk this through and see what you would both be comfortable keeping as an emergency fund. Some people feel completely comfortable with $1,000 and some people feel more comfortable with $1,000 per person in their family. So this is completely subjective. It's up to you. I want you to do whatever you feel most comfortable with, because not only is the emergency fund there to keep you from going into debt, but it's also there to lower your stress and make you feel safe and secure that you are going to be able to cover any emergencies that come your way and they are not going to wreck your budget and all of the financial progress you've made so far. Now, if you think you don't need an emergency fund, let me ask you if you've ever heard of a little thing called Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law tells us that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I'd actually like to go out on a limb and say that not only will it go wrong, but it almost always seems to go wrong at the worst possible times. Here's the thing. Say you have a little extra cash in your budget that you could probably cash flow a small emergency here or there. Maybe one of your children sprains their ankle in sports, so you go to the doctor and you're able to cover all of the medical bills, no problem, but that leaves you with $0 for the month. Now, since you're left left with zero for the month and you have no emergency fund, that's right about the time that Mr. Murphy usually waltzes right into your life, sits down and makes himself comfortable, meaning that's about the same time that you will blow a tire on your way to work, or you'll drop your cell phone in the toilet, or various other possible emergencies. So the thing is, this is really what happens sometimes when people's credit card bills get out of hand. Maybe they've always been a really responsible spender or a responsible credit card user, but as soon as one thing happens to knock you off track, it's really difficult because it seems as though you start this cycle of having to cover every emergency on a credit card and you're never really able to catch up because think about it. Most people say that the reason they have a credit card is for an emergency. And that's how many of us think. But how would it feel if anytime there was an emergency, you didn't even have to reach for your credit card? How would it feel to have thousands of dollars literally sitting in an account just waiting for Murphy to come around? Let me answer that for you. It would feel amazing. It does feel amazing. It takes so much of the day-to-day pressure off. It takes so much of the negativity away when there's an emergency because you're able to just pay for it. You're able to take care of it. You don't have to worry about where the money will come from. You don't have to worry that your credit card is already maxed out. You don't have to worry that you're not going to be able to pay your bills this month because your dog got sick and needed an operation. You are going to be able to handle anything that comes your way. And let me tell you something. Once you have this emergency fund in place, not only will it take the stress off you, but you're going to notice a lot less emergencies actually happening. I don't know what it is, but it is true. Ask anybody that has been doing this for a long time. It seems that as soon as you're prepared, the emergencies stay away. They only seem to come into your life when they know you can't afford them. I promise. The other thing the emergency fund does is it helps make the emergencies not so bad. So yes, if your child is hurt, of course, that's bad. But now you can focus on helping your child get better. You can focus on taking care of them because you know the bill is covered. You know you don't have to stress out and go take overtime and find a babysitter for your hurt child because if you can't, you won't be able to cover the medical bills. Having an emergency fund is going to allow you to focus on what really matters and not focus on how you're going to pay for it. So if you are on a super tight budget, an emergency fund is 100% essential. It is a non-negotiable. You need to prioritize building that emergency fund immediately. I know it might seem difficult. If you don't have $1,000 and you don't know where to get it, there are so many things you can do to come up with $1,000. The first thing I want you to do is look for gaps in your budget. Remember, we created a zero-based budget, and some of us, as we came down to the bottom, had extra money sitting there that we had to go back through and appropriate into other categories. If you don't remember, go ahead back and watch video 2 again, where we did the little calculation and we talked about income minus expenses equals 0. So for some people, when you take your income minus your expenses, maybe you have $200 left. So if you have $200 left, I want that to go right into your emergency fund every single month until it is considered complete. And that would be complete at whatever level you decided to set it at. So for this person, maybe a complete emergency fund looks like $1,000. And for this person, maybe a complete emergency fund looks like $5,000. Either way, you're going to take anything extra that you have in your budget and put it towards your emergency fund. In fact, if you are currently working to pay off debt, I highly suggest you take a couple months, pay only the minimums on your debt payments, and take every extra penny you can to create this emergency fund. Because if you do not, your debt payoff is going to be thrown off over and over and over again every time you have an emergency pop up. The next thing I want you to do is pull out your budgeting sheets and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see where can you cut costs for a couple months until you can create this emergency fund. Can you cut your clothing budget? Can you cut your restaurant budget for a couple of months? Can you decide to not contribute to a vacation sinking fund for a couple of months? Now remember, for some people, it might only take 1, maybe even 2 months of sacrificing these couple of categories. For others, it's going to take longer. And that's going to vary person to person depending on your specific financial situation, your income, and your expenses. So there's no right or wrong here. This is completely personal to you and your money. So we've taken everything extra that we could find and thrown it towards our emergency fund. We have gone through our budget and cut all the costs we possibly can so that we can put that money into our emergency fund. And if you still can't find enough money to create this emergency fund, your next option is to find a way to make extra money. You can do literally anything as a side hustle, anything. You can sell every single thing in your house that you do not love, do not use, do not need. Not only can you make a ton of money doing that, but you're also going to be helping yourself out by getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff you don't need and minimizing and downsizing, but you're also going to be decluttering your home and getting rid of a ton of stuff that you don't need. In addition to selling things, you can go to your boss and you can ask for extra hours, you can ask for some overtime, you can ask if there's any other things that need to be done around your company that they don't have somebody to currently take care of. What are your talents? What are your passions? Are you good at cleaning? Are you good at woodworking? Are you good at knitting? All of these different things you can look around in Facebook groups, you could sell on Etsy, you could ask your friends and family and see if anybody's interested in buying a Christmas wreath from you this year. There are so many things you can do. You can walk dogs, you can babysit dogs, you can take surveys. The thing is, this day and age, with all of the technology that we have available to us, any single thing that you are passionate about, you could monetize. Just hop on Google, do some research, look on Facebook groups, find people selling things or making money in ways that you think you would like to do the same, and ask them how they did it. There is no excuse in 2019 to not be able to earn some money on the side. I even have a blog post I will link down below that gives you a couple different ways you could earn money just from using different apps on your phone. Now, the last thing I want you to do once you're making extra money and you're growing your emergency fund is I want you to track it. We talked about this in video 3. Having a visual tracker really helps you see where you're at any given moment, and it motivates you to keep on task until you reach your goal. So I will leave the link down below, and remember, you can go access my free resource library over on my website and you will find the printable savings tracker in there. You can download and print it for free. Be sure to fill in your goal, the date you hope to reach your goal, and fill in all your markers along the way, and then you can color it as you save and build your emergency fund. That concludes our lesson for today. I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you're inspired to get to work on your emergency fund. It truly is one of the best tools we've used throughout our financial journey over these past couple years. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I hope you're finding value from this Begin to Budget series, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when the last video comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.